Hey everybody, it's the Doll Boy, and today I'm back with another Winx Reroot video. In some of my previous videos, I've already rerooted Flora, Musa, Layla, and Bloom, and today it's Stella's turn. In a previous second-hand video, I did already show you that I got a Stella doll second-hand, whose hair I've washed and straightened out before. And I actually managed to make it look pretty good after washing and straightening it. Since I don't really like the original hair texture of these Winx dolls though, I did really want to give this Stella doll a full reroot too. For this, my preferred hair is the DGHQ nylon hair from the Doll Planet that they carry in so many different colors. For Stella, I wanted to create a mix of that super cartoonish yellow, but also adding more natural colors in that mix to create that perfect balance between cartoon and realism. And for that, I was planning to use the pure blonde, the pale yellow, and sunrise. But then when I saw that sunrise up close, I realized that this had a very high shine factor. So I went back into my hair drawer and found this very similar dark yellow color, of which I have no idea what that name is. But as you can see, it definitely shines a lot less than that sunrise, so I did prefer to go ahead and use this shade of yellow. I also found some yellow hair in the color lemon, but I found that that was a lot cooler toned than that warm yellow that I found. And the same thing applied to another yellow shade that I have with the name Clover. I think these colors actually could have worked perfectly fine for Stella, but I really wanted to have those rich golden tones instead of that more fluorescent yellow. There are so many more colors to choose from though on the website of the Doll Planet hair, so if you're gonna check them out yourself and you want to order hair from them, make sure to use the code TheDollBoy10 to get 10% off your entire order. Then when I felt confident in the choices that I made for the hair color, it was time to say goodbye to Stella's original hair. Before chopping that off completely, I did really want to see how Stella would look with a bob, so I simply cut that hair off shoulder length first. And actually, I was quite impressed with how cute she looks with that bob. For now though, that's not the vibe that I'm going for, so I am going ahead and cutting all that hair off as short as I possibly can. And as you can see from that rooting pattern, Stella was rooted with that full middle part going all the way from front to back, because her hair was styled in two ponytails. And in the front you have that super thick line where her bangs were, and those are some things that I definitely am gonna change in my reroot. Because for me, on most dolls, I prefer to have them with their hair down, so I don't need that full part line for the ponytails. For now, I do have some more steps to take though, because I need to clean her head out before I can add the new hair. For this, I dip the head in a bowl of boiling water to make the plastic of the head a lot softer, which makes it easier to take off the head from the body. Then I take my forceps pliers and scrape the inside of the head to get all that leftover hair to the inside. And with this step, for these Winx dolls, I'm being a little extra careful not to touch their rooted eyelashes. Because if I accidentally touch those, I would risk the chance of pulling those eyelashes to the inside as well. And then when that entire outside looks bald, I'm opening up my forceps pliers and pulling those hair leftovers through the neck hole to the outside. I keep doing this until the entire inside of the head is empty and there's no more hair leftovers in there. Then to prepare the hair for the reroot, I take those 3 shades of yellow and mix them together to create the hairline color. For Stella, I really wanted to have that hairline and part line be one cohesive color. That's a mix of all three shades, so that it has those very subtle blended highlights. And then on the inside of the head, I can play around with more defined highlights to give that more defined look to the hair as well, without it being stripy or obvious. After completely blending my color, I lay it around the doll's head to test out if I actually like the color or if it needs some more adjusting. And then to make the reroot process easier, I already laid down a lot of strands on my table before actually starting the reroot. When I've got a bunch of strands on my table, I take one of them, wrap it around my finger 2 times, and pick it up with my reroot tool. I then find one of the holes in the hairline and push that reroot tool in. And then I simply keep doing that for the entire head. I personally like to start working on the back hairline because that allows me to warm up to the process of rerooting again after not doing it for a while. And if I mess up on my first couple tries, I would prefer for that to be invisible on the back hairline instead of doing that on the front of the head. So now I'm simply going around the back hairline, working my way to the front, and then once that entire hairline is done, I can start working on her part line. And for this, I had complete free motion in where to place that part line, and initially I was thinking of giving Stella a middle part with some curtain bangs, but since both Bloom and Flora already have middle parts, I ended up going for a slight side part for Stella. Once I figured out exactly where I wanted that side part to sit, it was time for me to create the new holes to put the hair in. So I flipped over the needle in my reroot tool, dipped Stella's head in boiling water to soften up the plastic again, and started pricking the new holes in the head. To do this, I simply push that needle into the head, creating holes that are as close together as I feel comfortable with, since I want to have this very dense row of hair without breaking the doll's plastic. Then I start rooting each hole with a strand of hair first, and then once I have that one row rooted, I like to fill it up a second time, which makes sure that you cannot see through that part line anymore. Rooting the part line in these 2 steps makes it a lot softer and easier for the plastic, instead of rooting very thick sections all at once. Then after all the hair in the part line is rooted, I take the pointy end of my comb, drag it through that line to separate that into 2 to show off the actual part line that I created. And once I'm happy with that, I start filling the rest of the head with the 3 pure yellow colors to create a lot more dimension on the inside of the head. To get a good distribution of each color, I like to work in rows, using 1 shade of yellow in each row, and then alternating for each row to get that super cool high and low light effect. Then after filling up that entire head using that same technique, I twist the hair out of the way and take my Fabri-Tac glue to add to the inside of the head. And then I take a Q-tip that I add through that neck hole again and swirl around inside of the head to evenly distribute that glue. After letting the glue dry for about 24 hours, it's finally time to add the head back on the body. And while waiting for that glue to dry, I already prepped the outfit that I wanted to use for Stella, being her original green top, this Bratz floral skirt, and her original green platform shoes. Then I simply popped the hat back on the body, took down that row braid, and brushed out the entire hair, giving you that first sneak peek of how this doll is actually gonna look. To sleek that hair down, I take a bowl of boiling water, hold Stella's hair tight to her body, and dip the top of the head in that bowl. For this type of nylon hair, I don't like to dip in the ends because it really doesn't need it, and it can only harm the texture of the hair. But dipping the top gives you this super nice and sleek look. While brushing out this hair, you can already see how nicely highlighted this color blend looks. Looking at the hair length, I did want to give Stella a bit of a shorter haircut, keeping it right underneath her knees. So I simply cut off the length and added some layers to the hairstyle. Then I let it dry completely straight, which gave me this final look that I'm so happy with. If you've seen more of my videos, you already know that I could not resist adding some curl to the hair as well, and I do love this look too. I really hope you like Stella's new look too, and the video showing the process as well. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and comment down below whether you prefer her hair straight or curled. Also, let me know which doll you want to see a makeover for next, and follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well if you want to see more looks of my dolls. See you next time!